Hello there, this is Christopher for Enlightened Audio, and today I'm going to be showing you some examples of crossfading, which is the process of fading one track out while fading another track in, so that you get a nice cohesive, smooth blend from one track to the next. And we're going to be doing that today with the music of Quietude. So I have got the three versions of Quietude here on my screen. I've got the original version here in orange, the subtle edition I've coloured blue, and the awakening track here in purple. The techniques I'm going to show you today are pretty straightforward, pretty basic. So if you've got experience with audio production already, then you might not learn a whole lot new today. But at the very least, you'll get to hear Quietude in action, and you'll get to hear what it sounds like when it's mixed properly. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start with is a crossfade between the original version of Quietude and the subtle edition. So I'm just going to start now by zooming in a little bit so we can see what's going on a bit better. And what I will do is I'll play you the tail end of Quietude here just so that there's some context for this and you get to hear what's going on. So part of the reason I wanted to play you that was so that I could show you why I chose to split the track at this particular point. And it really is just because there's not too much going on in the music at that point. Quietude's got all sorts of nice instrumentation and like pianos and flutes and so on. But you'll find that a crossfade into the subtle edition is just going to sound more natural if you choose to fade across at a point where there's not too much going on musically. To get this crossfade started, I'm just going to drag the subtle edition down here onto a second track and overlap it with the original version just a little bit. 10 to 15 seconds seems to work nicely. And then I'll open up my volume automation just by pressing A on my keyboard. This process might be a bit different for you. If you're using a different audio production program, it's bound to be a little bit different, but they all can do pretty much the same thing. So there's nothing I'm going to do today that you won't be able to accomplish with your own software of choice. Okay, so really it's as simple as drawing a fade out on the original version of Quietude, while simultaneously drawing a fade in on the subtle edition. Now, I've got a tip for you in just a moment, but first off, let's just play this through and see what we've got so far. Have a listen, and we'll talk about it in just a second. All right, well, that was sounding okay, but you might have noticed a bit of a drop-off in volume as the crossfade was proceeding. You know, it was as though we're losing volume from the original edition faster than we're gaining it back from the fading in of the subtle edition. And the way to get around that is to avoid these really linear, straight-line volume changes. So I'm just going to bring up a curving tool here and reshape this volume curve for both. And let's just have a listen to that again and see how it sounds now. All right, now did you hear how much smoother that was? You know, there were no really obvious changes in volume. You just get this really nice natural transfer from one track to the next. You can hear the instrumentation of the original version slowly sort of receding into the background as you sort of ooze your way into the next track, and it sounds natural. So that's what we're after. That's the sound that we're going for. Now I'm just going to undo all these edits I just did and close the volume automation, because the program I'm using, which is called Logic Pro, does something very cool, and that is that when I overlap two regions like this, it creates a crossfade for me automatically, which is very handy. All right, let's move on to the Awakening track now, and let's try fading from the Subtle Edition into the Awakening track. I'll just zoom out and then zoom in again over here, and let's just dive right into this. I'm going to grab the Awakening track and just drag him into place here, again with about a 15-second overlap. Let's have a listen to that, see how it sounds. All right, well, that was sounding really nice and smooth. You know, there were no real obvious changes in volume again. You just start to hear these tinkling chimes coming in, and you're on your way to enjoying the Awakening track. All right, well, that's about all for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I did want to give you a little bit of advice before we go. Sometimes finding the best spot to actually do a crossfade can take a little bit of experimentation. You might have to fudge things around a little bit before you find the exact right spot. So just be prepared to use your ears, try a few different edits and see what works for you. But above all, just have fun with this. You know, I've created this so that you'll have flexibility in your audio productions and that you can really tailor this to the needs of you and your voice and your listeners. So thanks for watching today, and have fun mixing with Quietude.